Hello, everybody, and welcome to man, I just saw something that came across my screen just now, and it's like, wow, that was quick. Um, oh yeah. We'll touch base on that here in a minute, guys. All right. Well, this is Tabletop Junkie, and I'm bringing you guys well, I wish I had more of a I wish I had the background changed a little bit, but this is going to be decent. I am going to host a solo play. I'm going to tell you guys a story, and this story is going to be Halloweenish, weenish, Hallow. It's going to be Halloween and fun. It's based around a character named Jason Pierce. He is a Chicago police officer. He's been a Chicago police officer since he got out of the academy about 21. He's been doing this for about roughly 11 years now, and he's assigned to Precinct 13. Before we begin, I would like to say hi to all my friends that came and catch the stream, such as the Witch King. Hail to you, sir. Glad that you are here. You're gonna actually end up loving this one, I think. Archer Cullen, glad that you're here too. Cannot be in better company. And of course, Mrs. Tabletop calms her nerves. Kids are driving her nuts, but she's out and about with them while they're being screamed at because they're at karate. So our kids are in self defense. And yes, I went with a whole cyberpunk deal to give my channel a whole brand new look. New things are coming out starting in 2024, including more of our Castles and Crusades. But today is not Castles and Crusades. Today is Jason Pierce Day. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so the scene opens up. It's a dark and rainy night. Jason just got in from his just got up for the night, just did one round of patrol around his area and made it to the precinct. He comes in, he is greeted by another police officer called Officer Rodriguez. Emil Rodriguez. And of course, their secretary who takes all the phone calls and dispatches both of them. Right now, they are the only ones. Oh, yes, and hang on a second. I gotta stop right here. Yes, Spartacus, I do see you in the chat now. Sorry, your thing just came through. Thank you for being here, and you are loved, sir. You are loved. All right. All right. So anyway, Emil Rodriguez. He was greeted by him and their secretary, who's not really their secretary. It's a 3-man crew at this precinct. They are the night shift doing their graveyard. The secretary's name, which I did not come up with, we're gonna call her. We're gonna call her. Oh. Uh, Her name's gonna be Jessica. We're gonna call that. We're gonna say, yeah, we're gonna call her Jessica. Susan. Okay. You know what? We're gonna change it to Susan. Yeah, there we go. So the secretary's name is Susan. She is the dispatch lady. Secretary R. Terry. All right. We're gonna go with. I will do this. We're gonna do Susan Terrence. Secretary, dispatch lady, Susan Terrence. She is not really part of the officer service. She is just a paid secretary. Unfortunately, we're not able to get a real officer to play the secretary because right now, Precinct 13 is under a lot of budget cuts. A lot of budget cuts. So, they just brought in, Emil Rodriguez just brought in someone who tried robbing a convenience store. So, Jason sits down and goes, all right, Emil, who do we got? I see some paperwork on your desk. Yeah, just some punk robbing a convenience store. 22, Robert Landon. Tried robbing it full of liquor. Oh, man, I tell you, these graveyard shifts are pretty rough. Although I do like the fact I get to sleep during the day. Then Susan interrupts, not Jessica. Susan interrupts and goes, well, luckily for you guys don't have to do anything special to look nice. It takes a lot of beauty sleep for me to look this good. And Jason just kind of shrugged her off. It's not that he wasn't appealing to her. He's just not feeling very very jokingly right now, and he goes, Susan, can I please have a cup of coffee before we start in with any of the jokes? No, I know this is the graveyard shift, but we are all still professionals here. So let me get a cup of coffee. So he goes and he gets himself a cup of coffee. Not convenient for the store owner. No, it's not. He gets his cup of coffee and he has like 2 cups of coffee. He goes through his paperwork. There's a couple reports of missing persons that they need to follow up on at some point in the night. However, given the fact that we'll talk about that later. We'll have to, he's just not, Jason is just not, really appealing to what's going on because it's only his first hour on the job. Emil, did we actually end up getting the paperwork filed for him in the correct order this time, so that way we make sure that when we send him to court for his charges? Emil goes, yep. Did you read him his Miranda rights? Yep. Okay, fine. All right, I think we are all good here. It's time for us to get ready to make our rounds. Jason opens up the door, and this big gust of wind just blows open the door, and nothing but water splashes all on him. And he shuts the door really quick, and he's like, okay, well, think I'm going to get my rain jacket. Emil starts cracking up in the corner, snickering, and he's like, hey, Susan, do you have a wet joke to go with this? And all you hear is Jason goes, Emil, not now. He's like, whoa, someone woke up on the wrong side of the bed. and they both laugh, and it's like, I'm just tired of the graveyard shifts. Yes, I made one mistake arresting someone. And believe it or not, yes, I get the graveyard shift. I mean, the guy assaulted me. What was I supposed to do? He grabbed me, and yes, my gun misfired and shot him in the foot. And yet, does that warrant are you okay, officer? No, that's, family suing you. He says he has nothing to do with it, and you forgot to read him his Miranda rights. So, therefore, all charges had to be dropped, and here I am at this freaking hour doing nothing. Other than getting wet and listening to you two complain. As Emil begins to put on his raincoat, the door busts open again. And he is splashed once again with more water as someone runs right past him, nearly knocking him over. And all he does is turns around and he sees this girl all wet from the rain. Just pouring and sobbing and crying, lip quivering as she looks deep into the eyes of Susan. And she goes, I need help. There's a man chasing me. There's a man chasing me. Jason shuts the door again and goes, all right, Emil, I have to go out on my rounds. Do you have this? Emil's like, I got it. Just go out on your rounds. He's like, okay. So he opens the door. He goes out on his rounds. He begins driving around town thinking of, man, what did it, it's like, I know I'm not perfect. I don't try to be perfect. But I don't think I deserve this graveyard shift. I really don't. He finds himself talking to himself in the car. He's like, I mean, damn it. The guy had drugs on him. He was insanely, there's no excuse for this. No excuse. I get the graveyard shift. That's it, No exceptions, the boss says. He picks up the radio and goes, Susan, I need a report. How's it going at the station? Susan, can you... are you guys okay? Susan? Okay. He puts down to the radio and he cannot raise them, so he begins turning on his lights, flips on his siren, and begins driving the car back to where he came to figure out what is going on at the precinct. Perhaps they lost power, the winds are powerful and strange, strangely, trees are falling everywhere. and it is just very strong winds. He's going to make a quick roll here. All right. He begins riding. The wheels begin lifting up above the water. He begins cutting through large things of puddles like it's nothing, and he makes it back to the precinct just in time, just to discover the lights are out. He begins getting out, and he shuts the door. He draws his gun, and he sneaks up very, very quietly. As he begins sneaking up very quietly in a fast jogging motion, he did not pay attention, and he slipped and fell face first onto the ground. Water splashes everywhere, and he screams. He gets up, and he runs to the door. The door is propped open. He opens up the door. Emil? Jessica? Or Susan? Why do I keep saying Jessica? Oh, yeah, that's right. That's my ex-girlfriend who just left me last night. Susan? Anyone here? He shuts the door behind him to stop the rain from getting in through the door, as the entire driveway appears to be flooded. And without knowing it, he hears a sound. Sounds like someone's tapping on something. And he goes to the door, and it looks like it's coming from the conference room. And he counts to 3, and he opens it, and all you hear is everyone going, ah! And suddenly he sees the faces of Emil, Susan, and the girl that came in before he left. And he goes, okay, what the hell's going on? They come out and they explain, sorry, the power went out. We were just trying to find the plans for the generator, trying to get it hooked up and everything, because the backup generator failed too. And he's like, the backup generator failed? Didn't you fill it? That's not my job, Mr. Pierce, Officer Pierce. That is first shift's job, and maybe even second, to make sure it's filled during the day before we come in. All right. I'll make my way to the generator. You guys just stay here. And the girl says, no, don't. He's in here. He looks at Susan and Emil, as well as the girl, and goes, what is she talking about? So Susan begins to explain that a guy was chasing her and attacked her and her boyfriend, and supposedly he ate her boyfriend or did something to him, and there was blood all in the streets over on 5th and 3rd. Jason kind of looks at the story and says, Emil, have you not investigated? He's like, I was going to, but the power went out as soon as I did. All right, we'll get him some help, but first we got to make sure the power gets back on. Someone's gonna have to stay here. Meanwhile, I'm gonna go to the generator. You guys just stay right here. So Jason begins walking to the back. Meanwhile, Susan and Emil begin wondering about what they should have done first. But then as Emil, he begins trying the phones. He's like, okay, the phones are out. I think I left my cell phone in the car. I'll be right back. So he begins to walk outside, and they hear a humming coming from the hallway. And it's like this strange humming. The girl begins freaking out and grabbing onto Susan. Emil draws his gun. He goes, stay right here. I'll check that. That sounds like it's coming from the evidence room. Once Emil approaches the evidence room, he goes through the first door and finds out that the door to the evidence room is currently open. He checks for his keys, but realizes the keys are already in the hole. He doesn't remember grabbing them. He unhooks the keys and just makes sure that there's no one in the evidence room. He sees nothing. It is dark, and he cannot see much else without a flashlight. But he tries. Let's see here. Yep, we're going to do this one. Okay. Emil begins freaking out as he heard a sound behind him. He turns and the door is wide open to the evidence room. He doesn't remember leaving it so far ajar. As he begins to approach, the eerie hairs on the back of his neck begin to stand ever so slightly up. He reaches for his radio that he doesn't have on him. He's like, oh crap, left my radio behind. Great for that. Great for that. Alright, give me 1 second. I gotta make some notes here. Alright. Emil grabs onto the door. And as he begins to do, he feels this sensation of pain on the back of his neck. And he suddenly is gripping the door like a surge of electricity is going right through, as every nerve in his neck is being totally punctured at this moment. Alright. Let's see here. Yep, okay. He turns and looks and sees this black figure hunched over, all wet and dripping from rain. He goes, listen here, you son of a bitch. I don't know what you did to me, but you're coming with me. He reaches down to try and grab for him, and once again, Emil is subdued. And once again, Emil is subdued by him grabbing the neck, applying pressure to the wound, and blood beginning to fall even more. He feels himself being thrown off his feet. He raises up in the air. The pain is so excruciating, he cannot understand what's about to happen as he falls straight down onto a table. A metal table. And before he knows it, the creature's back on his neck, puncturing the wounds around him. Within mere moments, everything for Emil begins going black. Meanwhile, Jason is currently in the back of the generator room, and he can't seem to get the generator working because it looks like, for some reason, it is all out of gas. He begins looking for the reason why it is out of gas, because the gauge says it's empty for some strange and unknown reason. Oh, heck yeah. He finds that the tubing for the internal one that leads from the outside, that the tubing on both the inside, the wires have been cut. He walks outside and he looks at it and he smells gas everywhere. He looks on the ground and it looks like some discoloration in the water is being caught in the drain. He goes to the tank of the outside generator and he looks at it, and all the gas has been leaked out through puncture holes at the bottom. He's like, what the hell? Alright. He comes to the radio and goes, Susan, do you have your external radio? Susan answers like, yes, I do. Alright, get ready to get things out of here. Do we have any prisoners in here? Yeah, we got the man in the convenience store being in holding. Alright, let's go get him because, yeah, someone sabotaged the, looks like someone sabotaged the generator. We gotta get out of here. Emil, do you copy? We're leaving. Emil does not answer. Susan comes back on the radio and says, Emil went to the evidence locker. For what? We heard a noise from there. He's like, I'll check it out. Just get the prisoner and let's go. As he makes it to Emil's location, he opens up the door and sees Emil's body lifeless on a table. Blood everywhere. The room fills with the smell of iron. What the hell? The pool of blood of what assumes to be Emil's is all over the ground. Oh, boy. Okay. Alright, we gotta get going. So, he leaves the room immediately, goes back to the main room, and he meets up with Susan. They both startle each other for a moment. It's like, where's Emil at? He's dead. What? Yes, his blood's all over there. He was attacked. Did you go after the prisoner? I was going to. Alright, let's go. They begin going to lockup. Once in lockup, they make it to where the prisoner was being held, but the door was already open. And the prisoner is hanging upside down with his throat cut. What the hell is going on here? Susan begins to freak out, I think. No, she does not begin freaking out. She holds herself together pretty well. Pretty damn well. Alright. We gotta get out of here. Let's get the... Susan? Yeah, where's the other girl? Oh, shit. I don't know. When did you lose her? I think we left her back in the room. She was freaking out saying that the guy that attacked her and her boyfriend is in here. I wouldn't doubt it, but whoever he is, he's some sicko. Just stay close. Let's head back to the main room and we'll get out of here. They make it to the main room. And as soon as they do, they see her body hanging from the ceiling fan. It looks like she tied a noose and hung herself. Susan looks at the girl and says, I can't believe she was so afraid that she killed herself. Jason looks at her and says, you think she killed herself? She was murdered. How do you know? Look at her bite wounds on her neck. Her blood was probably drained before he did that. Whoever the sicko is, he's toying with us. We gotta get out of here. Alright. You got your gun? I'm a secretary, not an officer. Remember, there was a budget cut, so I'm not certified to use a gun. Alright, I'll get you one from the armory. Just stay close behind me. Jason makes it to the armory, and as soon as he opens up the door behind him shuts, and he begins to try to open it from the inside. However, for some reason, it seems like the door is jammed. Susan finds herself back in lockup on the other side of the door, next where the armory would be. And all she knows is the wind got knocked out of her. Wait, maybe. Let's see if the wind got knocked out of her. Oh, that's the wrong one. That 2 is the wrong one. Oh, yeah. Wait until they got knocked out of her. The wind got knocked out of her, and she has minor bruising around her face. And she doesn't know what hit her, but something hit her. She quickly began looking for something that she can use heavy-wise. The only thing that she found and hold and lock up is a pillow. She braces for the pillow, just to use whatever she has. She sees something black running right towards her. She pulls back the pillow and begins swinging it. Oh yeah, no. It was like an illusion. She couldn't believe it, because as soon as she swung, the shadow figure was gone. The fear begins creeping up on her. Nope. She begins feeling this raw sense of power, like, I'm not going to die today. I'm not going to die today. I'm not going to die today. And before she knows it, a sharp pain comes from behind, grabs her around the neck, and lifts her off the ground. She screams in terror for Jason. Jason manages to shoot off the lock and makes it right to the door. However, the door in holding seems to be jammed somehow. He watches. I'm not gonna die. Yeah, that's basically how that is, Archer. He watches helplessly as suddenly the window to the door, he looks up and blood splatters all over it, blinding him from what's the true horrors that's happening. Her screams become nothing more than moans and whimpers, and then silent. He is the last one in the precinct. It is just him and whatever this thing is. He takes off the radio. He takes off the belt. He puts on, he takes up one gun and he goes in and he finds more. He ended up finding a 12 gauge shotgun. And he's like, all right, that's it. This thing has picked off every single one of my coworkers. I have no one left. It's just me. Alright, let me get ready here, because this is going to be the final battle, folks. He has lost everyone dear to him. Oh, nice. 9. Okay, so 9 explodes. Got it. Nice for this one. Alright, so let me get this on his character. $20, $40, $80. Once he has the shotgun and everything is loaded and his pistol, and he has his shirt off, able to mobile easier with able to be more mobile easier with just the bare minimum. He goes in and kicks down the door. Let me see how well he kicks that door down. Well, Well, he attempts to kick down the door, and that does not work. See if we can try that one more time. All right. So the first time didn't work, and then he just suddenly feels this overwhelming surge of rage. And he just kicks it down, and suddenly this bed just flops right over. And he sees this thing, this shadowy figure. He moves the bed out of the way, and he says, "Look here, turn around." Susan falls limp to the floor. And he reveals his face to be this deformed, hideous creature with fangs. And all he says, "Listen here, you little pig fucker. You took out all my coworkers. They could have been my friends. Game on, bitch." And he cocks the shotgun and begins to fire. All right. He is going to use his firearm. Oh boy, this is not good. Okay. Yep. I get to roll 5. Alright, 5 successes. And I get to roll 3 more dice. Oh, that's not good. 5 successes is good enough. Okay, Give me one hot second here. I just got to pull up something. Let's see here. Okay, that works. He cocks one time and fires, shooting the thing in the gut. He looks up. The thing looks up at him and begins running right towards him, giving him another chance to do one more fire, but unfortunately moving quicker than he anticipated. Oh, no. He fires again. Pow! And the creature just stops for just a moment and then looks back up and begins running towards him and begins making contact with him, actually. Not really running towards him. The creature smacked Jason right in the face, but left claw marks just barely on him. He's like, huh, "Is that the best you got?" He unloads another. He takes off another shot at the gun at close range to see if he can just blow that person apart. And as he tries to, the creature manages to disarm him and whacks him with the butt of the gun. The butt of the gun barely did anything to his head. He got back up. And he's like, huh, is that the best you got? He pulls out his other gun and begins to try to fire. However, the creature is moving at insane speeds. Okay, alright. That actually works in my favor. Oh no, that doesn't work in my favor. That was only 5, I think. So as Jason tries to fire again, the creature manages to grab his arm and push him right into the back of the grate. He manages to hold the creature back at bay with one of his arms while the creature has his wrist and has him by the back of the head. He looks at it and the fangs are dripping with the blood of his friends. He's like, alright, you son of a bitch. I think I'm going to finally take you. And he takes him by the other head and tries to headbutt him. This may not work. Oh, it may work, actually. The creature begins... He managed to not try to headbutt him as the creature bounced right back. He takes a quick minute and loads his, cocks his gun and begins to fire as quickly as he can. He's like, all right, here, you son of a bitch. Time to pay the piper, he says, or something like that. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with, like, witty comments here. The pistol's gone off, but yet missed the creature. The creature has left the room. Oh boy. The breathing begins heavy. Very, very heavy. Alright, let's see if the creature can sneak up on him at least. Oh, heck yeah. As Jason goes down the hallway, he hears a door creaking open. Wrong one. The door creaks just a little bit more. And a little bit more. Jason quickly turns and opens fire. And all you hear is pow pow. The creature screams and wailing and comes right through the door, right at Jason. He grabs Jason and whirls him right into the conference room, breaking the other side of the window. Jason climbs to his feet as quickly as he can, with the wind virtually knocked out of him. Virtually. Alright, I gotta make some notes here because Jason has taken some damage. He doesn't have a lot left. Jason begins feeling the terror, feeling the horror of that this creature may not be of any normal importance. Well, not importance, but of normal part of the normal world. His breath begins to quiet. He breathes. And the creature reveals himself. He gets another shot off, but the creature's arm, the bullet just goes right through the creature's arm, and it's like he felt no pain hopping right into the room with him. He is once again grabbed by whatever this ugly thing is. The creature manages to grab him for just a split second, and he flies right into the back of the metal filing cabinets. The metal filing cabinets fall on him. His bones begin to crack. His blood falls right from his face. The creature begins approaching him and says, "You mortal are nothing more than mere cattle for me." Jason takes a quick moment, he smiles, and he says, "See you in hell, bitch." And he quickly puts the gun right into his face and unloads. Oh shit, yeah. Oh shit, no. He manages to squeeze off another bullet, but barely wounding the creature as he manages to... What does the creature do to him? Does he send him flying through the wall again? Edge manages to grab on his head, and he flies right through and out the door. At this point, Jason is... let's see here. I think I'm losing my dots here. Oh, yeah, there we go. I'm at 5. Which I lost 5 dots so far. Which blood is everywhere. Jason is barely able to move. The creature approaches him once again. And he goes, "Any last words, motherfucker?" Jason manages to take a minute and catches his breath and says, "Just one. Just one. When you're actually trying to feed on someone, go ahead and kill your food. Don't play with it." And he manages to try and squeeze off one last bullet in his gun. Except he didn't have one last bullet in his gun. He squeezed off one right down the creature's head, or right at the creature's head, fires it. The creature's head went back. As its mouth opened, he grabs the neck and then shoves it right down his throat. And suddenly, the body of the creature begins to fall. And then it begins to mold and rapidly decay. He falls back very much wounded from what he just saw. It's not very normal. Let's see here. Let's see how well his willpower is holding up. It's not. I'm gonna. There we go. He begins to feel the weight of everything on heavy as he falls to the ground and begins to pass out from the loss of blood. Jason wakes 12 hours later in a hospital. His sergeant's right there and asks what happened. They found the remains of what looks to be nothing but mere slime. And the person in the holding cell that robbed the convenience store is dead. The girl that came in for help is dead. Susan is dead, and Emil is gone. Jason gives a story of some strange creature biting their necks, which makes it sound like the story of some strange vampire story, something he might have watched on TV. He was later that day diagnosed with pathological lying and probably schizophrenia and probably post-traumatic stress disorder. Jason then finds himself locked up in a maximum facility insane asylum because nobody believes it. Either he truly killed them and that slime is nothing more than just mere slime, or something did get them all but him. This is the story of Jason Pierce, 32-year-old cop, 11 years on the force, assigned to Precinct 13, that was attacked by a strange entity. Of what he knows is nothing more than a mere illusion. The scene goes quiet as the credits begin to roll, as he begins to fall asleep. And that is the story, everybody. That is the solo play. Hopefully my girlfriend should be on her way home by now. So hopefully she's done with that and she's not so bored. And yes, welcome to the World of Darkness. This was, the rule set I used was New World of Darkness, first edition, which is my favorite one. I didn't care for the second edition or the Chronicles of Darkness as much as the old World of Darkness. But the new one, which was set, I believe, in the early 2000s. So, unfortunately, Jason Pierce will spend his time until I decide to bring him out again for another matchup, I guess. Who knows? Maybe he will get his trial and he will get out an early release or whatever. But there's no proof that a vampire truly killed his people. Just so that everyone does know, I was using a vampire. It was a Nosferatu vampire. That's why I tried to get the ugliness in there. What if he becomes a thing? At this point, the only thing that he could probably become is a hunter for that thing. He did not go through, in World of Darkness, there's Spartacus. They still have to go through a ritual, sort of. Not really a huge, magical thing. It's more of just an exchange of blood for that to happen. I hope you guys all enjoyed this. I was actually partially joking. I played the original WoD, my favorite character being a were-raven. Yeah. Well, he would have needed to be drained of all his blood and then fed by the blood. And I've played both vampire computer games. Yeah, I have not had the chance of doing that. Yep, you are right, Witch King. Boy, you guys got a debate. I should do this more often. Yep. So, yep, that is the story of Jason Pierce. Once a pretty decent cop who got one reprimand on his record, went to been doing third shift for a while. Didn't know it was going to be the last time he ever, that night, he did not know it was going to be the last time he ever did it. So, yeah. Oh, speaking of which, I should bring back up that book because he did fail on something that was kind of catastrophic. So he did lose 2 dots as a demerit. Not really demerit per se. I forgot what they call it. It was his mortality. So let me see here. I don't mind the storytelling system because it's usually less rolling, and the only time you need to roll is if you just got to figure out like what damage and stuff is going to be. Really, they weren't even rolling that high, even though this is a D10 system. They weren't rolling very high anyway, which is why it took so long for the battle to go through. He's also not a pushover, so and I also did not make up anything for the NPCs. They were just fly by the seat. So oh, that's not how that would work. Never mind then. He still loses some of his willpower. Werewolf is my second favorite. I actually have a set of WAD dice. Werewolf is my second favorite. Changeling and Wraith is my third. And I've always wanted to just play World of Darkness, like the new World of Darkness and stuff like that. Actually, just basically just play out a small scenario, nothing too big. I think we actually started one, but it was like V20, V20, and stuff like that. So. All right. I have most of the original WAD books in PDF. Never tried the updated versions. Yeah, I want to go back to V20, miss being ST. Oh, yeah. I do like this one because it's an easy storytelling game. It's one of the easiest systems to actually get into, regardless which one you used. So, yeah. Oh, that's right. I could pick a flaw. Um... Nah, not gonna pick a flaw. None of this has anything to do with anything. So, alright, well, that's everything that I have at this time. So, this guy's gonna stay exactly the same. Until I decide to dig him out next time for another solo play. Which probably won't be for a while. So, yeah. Well, for all those who tuned in, thank you so much. You guys all have a great and wonderful night. And remember to work hard, play hard, game on, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.